Hey everybody, it's Book of Katherine. I hope you're doing well. And this is going to be quite a video. There's going to be a lot in it, and I hope that, I don't know, I hope you get something out of it because there is a lot in it. There's going to be a lot in it. I hope I get it all out. So if you are watching, well, I know a lot of people are watching the elections. I'm not watching a whole lot of the elections because, let's be honest, the courts are going to play it out. But also, I believe we're just in the second part of Revelations 19, heavily into it. So somebody said, it was kind of funny, I was watching their video and they're like, this is just a continuation of 2020. We have 2020 and now we have 2020. And they are absolutely right. 2020 is the year. It is just the year of basically the seven plagues continuing out. And that's something that I wanted to talk to you today, as well as Beirut and everything I've learned about Beirut and the three cities that have fallen and how it all ties in. So I hope that you can maybe watch this video. I don't even know if you can watch this because in my head I just have a ton of research and it's all swirling around. It's all connected to me in my head. It's all connected in my head. But I don't know how I can get it in a nice little linear line, since not even Revelations has it in a nice little linear line for us. So I will do my best, and yeah, let's see how it goes. So let's start with Revelations 15. Revelations 15 actually says it's the one with seven plagues. It just dumps seven plagues on us out of nowhere. All seven plagues, seven cups in bowls of wrath, and just goes, here, take all seven bowls of wrath. But they don't happen in a row. If you go through the seven bowls of wrath, they don't all happen 1, 2, 3, 4. No, the Black Plague has been steadily coming back over the last 100 years, and now it's hitting like it's like bang. Now, what's interesting about the Black Plague is that if you look into it, they did the exact same things for the Black Plague that they're doing today. Everyone stayed indoors, locked up their doors, and they covered their mouths, which is especially insidious if you think about it, because if there was a breakout of Black Plague, what doctor would be looking for it? What doctor would know to look for it? How could we tell anyone to take better care or precaution for it at all? And wouldn't it be easy for a government to cover it up, like where it's breaking out? It's breaking out in China, and everyone's already locking their doors and hiding. It's very easy for China to just say, all right, everyone's doing what they're doing. Let's just keep counting the numbers. And the governments can just say, start testing for Black Plague. And what are you going to do? Tell your clients, tell your actual sick people, we're testing you for Black Plague. Not to mention that the Black Plague kills you in 24 hours. And so, I mean, they need to know so that they can quarantine you quickly, but they're already quarantining people pretty quickly. The problem is that if the Black Plague is allowed to spread, it will kill all of humanity in a year. So it needs to be talked about. And yet we are living in literally Nazi era of free speech. And that's where it's really going to kiss, it's this whole era of a lockdown on free speech is really going to kick it's really going to backfire on us. This whole era of no free speech, it's really going to backfire on this whole surveillance state because of something like the Black Plague. When we don't have everyone who's taking a payout, every journalist is there, belongs to a family where it is more beneficial to them because their family is in the big pharma business. Boy, is humanity going to feel that kickback. Boy, are we going to suffer the consequences of that. So the Black Plague is out there, number one. Number two, but I should say, it says that the Black Plague will not touch any who are not sealed by God, who do not have the seal of God. And we did research into that, and that seems to be anyone who has the seal of God, who has the seal of the Holy Spirit, who's baptized in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. But it's not just like baptized, it seems to be like born again in the Holy Spirit. The thing with Nicodemus, that's the best we can find in our research that I've done. You can keep doing your research. It says those will be free from harm from that, interestingly enough. It's been interesting that's a separate thing. I could do another video on that. So, but that specific plague says that's the one plague, I believe, of all the plagues where it says the people of God will not be touched. I don't think it says that on any of the other plagues. Then the second one, I think, is like all the things in the sea will die. We're definitely seeing that now. But then you go on, it says will be scorched by the air. Well, that happened in the 80s. Then it says the Euphrates will dry up. Well, that started happening in the 70s. And then it goes on and on through all these different things. And you're like, well, that happened then. And the only thing that didn't happen yet is all the rivers died out. Though I will say when I see people rafting on the rivers and they look down, there's nothing there. And I remember when I was doing river rafting, when I was able to before I was injured, I did river rafting for sure. I mean, I was very active. You guys know that. I traveled everywhere. And when I did river rafting, there wasn't anything in the creeks. I remember that very clearly. There was nothing. I didn't have to worry about anything. Though when I was growing up, there was. But definitely when I got older, and no one talked about it. No one said a word about it. No one talked about it. None of the guys, I thought I would be told if there was a problem. So I just know that's my experience. And then the river Euphrates dried up. So anyway, those are all the plagues. What's interesting is at the end of all those, my point is that none of those happened in a row. Those happened all over the map. Some are happening now. Some started in the 70s. That's my point. They happen all over the map. And we don't even know if some of it's all the Black Plague. Like some of those, it said open stinking sores. Some of those look very much like smelly sores are sores that people from diabetes, that's the sores that they have. So it could be other things that also count. It just is something that has a smelling sore. It could be any kind of disease that has a smelling sore. Very interesting. So, but it's for sure all of it is going down, but it didn't all go down at the same time. It's all going down by 2020. We know that for sure. It's all going down by 2020. I bring all that up because at the very end of all of those, and then the seventh, which people get wrong all the time, and which leads into Beirut, the seventh, it says a bowl is poured out in the air, and everyone misses that because they pay attention to the earthquake that happens everywhere. An earthquake greater than anyone has ever seen. An earthquake. So they all focus on an earthquake and, giant hailstones that are tons that no one can bear. Well, I'm like, look at what it actually says the bowl of wrath is. Something that hits from the air, and the great city is broken into 3 parts. Well, now that's very interesting. And then right before, I believe it says it, or right after it, it says, behold, I come like a thief in the night. And that's my point right here. This is what I find very interesting because it does this whole book of Revelations. And this guy, Jesus of Nazareth, had just spent all this time with his followers saying, you're not going to know the day or the hour. You're not going to know the day or the hour. And then he dies and they say rose again. And then appears again on this island and tells his most beloved, John, and tells him, by the way, here's when you can expect me again, even though he said you're not to expect the day or the hour. So you have to ask yourself, why would he do this huge revelation of things to come and expect me after just telling all of his followers, don't expect the day or the hour. No one knows. I mean, everyone says, you'll never know the day or the hour. You'll never know. Every time someone thinks they know the day or the hour, a quote comes out that says they know the day or the hour, and the day, all the people hit him back with, you're not going to know the day or the hour. You're not going to do it. And I'm just kind of like, well, what's the one form of time that's not said in all of those sayings? In the ancient text, the one form of time that's not said that all of the ancient civilizations did use was year. And we all celebrate New Year's. We don't celebrate any days as a whole entire earth, but the whole earth celebrates a new year. And that's the one thing that this whole book of Revelations does seem to point to is a year. And I'm like, well, I got it right about 2020 when a big explosion happened. And 2020 has sucked for all of humanity. And guess what? The seventh bowl came out in the air. COVID happened in 2020. So you know what? I'm going to go with, we can guess it's a year. Like some people are like, oh, 2021. And I'm like, I'm not guessing 2021's coming. I'm not holding my breath 2021's coming. I'm not. They're all like 2021, and I'm like, what's making you think 2020? Is there something around making you think 2021's coming? Is there something that makes you think? Is there some sign or wonder making you think? Look around you, my friends. Does 2021 scream at you, I'm coming? They did Agenda 21. All the people who had access to these texts, the Tanakh, everyone who had access to all of these texts before we did, they made an Agenda 2021. And you know what that agenda was? The agenda was depopulate the earth and kill as many people as they could before 2021 hit. I wonder why that would be. Why they'd want to kill as many people as they could before the year 2021. Can anyone guess why they'd want to do that? Why they want to kill as many people as possible? And they succeeded. You know, a good 400 million people in China. They did a good freaking job at killing a whole lot of people. Anyone guess why? I mean, it's been an interesting little ride, this journey. So, then my point is that right after it gives all of these plagues, all the other trumpets, for when we can see the trumpets and the seals, all seem to come in succession. Boom, 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 succession, succession. They all seem to come one right after another. And then the seals drop. And right after it says, here are all the seals, it then says, you'll never know the day or the hour. And I'm like, interesting that none of those seals seem to come at the exact, they didn't come in succession. And that says you won't know the day or the hour. Because after that, those seals seem to happen after chapter 18, chapter 15. From then on, when it says you won't know the day or the hour, all of a sudden nothing happens in succession. You'll notice that nothing seems to happen in succession. Doom of Babylon seems to happen in different varying events. Everything starts to get a little bit different and things like that. And the whole theme seems to be on your guard, be ready. So, so I'll tell you the things that, so I'm like, I'm on my guard. You can be sure that all me and my friends are like, get in order. Like, we're trying to figure stuff out. That's for sure. So now I need to take a pause because I'm in a lot of pain. And then I'm going to get into what I think is going on with Beirut. Maybe I should go ahead and, hold on a minute. Hold on. Okay, so I will film a part 2 to this. So, but to wrap this up, I realize I need to be careful because when I talk to about my friends, I talk to them a lot more than I'm able to tape, right? Because I can be very close to an episode and still talk with them. Sometimes I have to talk to them as a part of staying out of an episode. Some of my friends can really talk me out of episodes. They have such crazy stories from their adventures out there that they can keep me out of an episode and get me through some really bad things. So when I say something like, are you expecting 2021? Look, talking about death and the end of things, like you have to understand that part of it is for me, I really had to face, God, I'm going to cry. In August with Lila, you know, she went to the ER and I went to the ER. And like I didn't have that much from her practically being gone. Like, I just went into the ER really weak already. And I was just so weak from fighting for so long. You know, just been too long, too many years. And the pain was so great. We didn't know that medicine. Remember, I was on a new medicine. And that new medicine, when I tried it again, boy, I found out how bad that pain was. It made you feel like your ribs were splitting open. I'm still recovering from going back on that medicine for a day. For one day, the pain was so great. And it took us weeks to figure out that it was the medicine because I have so much pain. We didn't know what was happening to me. But in that ER, like I always said that like I've made peace with my maker, but boy, in that ER, like I really did. think there were 2 times, once on my skateboard when I fell, and then this second time. So there's like, it does something to you, it changes you. But there's also this thing that I've done with my research where you come to this realization of what they've really done to the earth with this like Agenda 21, this climate change agenda, who has really made it, the United Nations, who really did this. You know, it's not really any nation who's done it. It's the same families, and these families go across the whole world. They're noble families, but they're also just wealthy families who have made it in each country for whatever reason, got lucky for whatever reason. You see it, they hit the billionaires club and they join it. You see them join Warren Buffett or Bill Gates. But what they've done with this agenda is, you know, they're putting 455 million tons of plastic into the ocean yearly, and that's plastic. That's not the garbage. And I'm just like, they're pulling off our ozone in China, Japan, and India. Those are where everybody lives. In America, we're only 330 million people. We're this tiny itty bitty nation. Everybody lives in China. Everybody lives in Europe. Everybody lives in India and Japan. And those are the places that are just tanking the environment, because the UN, where all these families have their businesses and work, they can just lobby through the UN. And I'm sorry, but I've been researching it for years now, and you see the garbage patches in our oceans. There's not really any way to clean them up. The plastic's so small, so it's killing off everything's breathing it. There's no clean water ocean. The plastic's so small, they don't have any way to clean it. These guys had let's see how much money we can make by 2021. And you have to ask yourself why. It's like they're trying to kill the planet by that time. Like the way they've been fracking it, the way they've been pummeling it. And you just look at it and I'm like, you can't heal. I don't know how you heal from that. We're just a small little nation. They've burned down the Amazon to nothing. I mean, they've just pummeled through it. Entire places that were there was not. We just watched the never-ending story. And I was like, in ways, this was like in ways, Germany, together with Japan and Italy, and these families in India and China and the CCP, and of course, American families, Bill Gates and Purdue Pharma and Philadelphia families and Israel, there's nothing. There's nothing. So that's the way I talk. It's hard to come to that understanding. I don't get a lot of information from Russia. Maybe you guys do. They seem to put a rosy picture on everything, but a lot of the video I get is pollution. So when you do all the math, I'm like, nope, all the pollution cannot be coming from China and India. Like there's a third missing there. And I'm like, why? Why the rush? But I could be wrong. I hope, obviously, this is one day that's wrong, and hopefully we can reverse it. I mean, obviously that's what I want. In Revelations, it says, I believe, that what actually happens is that Christ returns and then reigns for 1,000 years. And the world becomes made new then with reigning Christ. So that's but it seems like there's just this big battle. I'm just watching the earth die in between, and I'll get into that number 2 in the second video. I think you'll find it very interesting because the 7th plague talks about earthquakes, and I think the earthquake reveals very clearly the dragon. We're always talking about the beast, what's the beast? I think the beast has been revealed very, very clearly. Both beasts, actually, very, very clearly. Bright, bold beasts. We can find them very clearly in earthquakes. It's right there in the seventh bowl for us, and that's kind of exciting, and it should help with Philadelphia. So I hope that it helps you with Philadelphia. So let's get on to part 2. Love you guys so much. Bye. Can't believe that I'm doing this on November 7th. I'm like, of course it's the 7th that I feel better to film. I was just like, you've got, when I was doing my filming, I was just like, I was looking at the bottom on the 7th when I was downloading things from my phone. I was like, you've got to be kidding, it's the 7th. I was like, come on, 117. Just like, you gotta, it's always the way of it. This is going to be a very interesting 2020. Oh, love you guys. Bye. Oh, wait, and donate here. Gosh, you're never going to want to donate to me. Yeah. This is just, FND. It could just be an FND episode. So I'm going to get lots of counseling in FND. Yay. So anyway, so if you want to watch these videos, hopefully I'll be able to put up the videos, and if you want to donate down below. Yeah, part 2 on its way. Talk to you guys soon.